Hey, here we go. Check this out.
This is Whole Nother Level with Dwayne Lindo.
You know, frankly, I feel that we shouldn't even be talking about this. Simple as that.
The great L. Bushman.
They'd have to make so many adjustments, but I don't know what they have to do. They need a miracle.
Frank Mazzei.
Did they win the offseason in free agency? Yes. What does that mean? Absolutely nothing.
Ladies and gentlemen, the one and only Craig Cousin.
How can you not put Tom Brady number one on the Mount Rushmore of quarterbacks? Man, this guy's a legend. Rings speak.
And Derek Wilson.
I didn't know Eric was going to let you talk.
Don't hate the player, hate the game. I've seen enough Facebook posts to know that you're not a Giants fan. Let's go.
And welcome everyone to another edition of Whole Nother Level right here at Ferg's for this game 2 of the series. And my first question to you gentlemen is very simple. Blake Snell, does he get his first win tonight? That is my question to you gentlemen. What do you think?
Well, I tell you what. I mean, let's let Evan go last. But I think that no, because I'm sure he has a lot to say about Snell.
Well, I told Eric before this, if I talk positive, they lose. If I beat them down to the ground, they win. So I'm not sure how I'm going to answer this question.
I mean, it's a tall order for Snell. I mean, you're talking about the first place team in the West. I mean, you don't really see. I mean, in previous years, you don't see
as the hardware to back up his, to back up being age. Yes, hardware. No.
Okay, we'll see.
No, I agree, but I mean, it doesn't seem like he's ever going to stop. I mean,
very true.
I mean, he hit a home run last night, and he barely swung the bat. I mean, it just flies off his bat. But I mean, Blake Snell, where he's at right now is. He's trying to get over where he has that one. I mean, against the Toronto Blue Jays, he gave up a grand slam. He made one bad pitch, and he lost that game. It seems like he's just trying to get over that one bad inning where he made Walker batter, but then he just hurts himself by doing little stuff, and he can't get through that one inning, and then it just blows up.
Yeah, mentally, I don't think Blake Snell is definitely the guy you want on the mound tonight, if you ask me. So, Great L. Bushman, we'll just go to you. Give us your analysis.
Well, his last outing against Boston, it was 4 runs, 1 earned over 5 Ks, 2 walks, and well, he's yielded 11 runs throughout his past 5 starts. 5 were unearned, so he's still a young guy. I mean, he's your number 5 in the rotation. I think he's still trying to find his own. But as I said before, if I'm going to talk positive about the Rays, they might lose. If I beat them down to the ground, I hope they win. But I hope he gets his first win. I mean, I think that would be a more confidence booster. And what I think myself and Pinto can all agree on is, how many innings is Cash going to let him go? Because you don't want to go late into the game where you have to go into that dreadful bullpen that they have. So, I'm hoping he goes either 6 or 7 today. He keeps the pitches under control. But, the way he's pitching lately, as Pinto had said, he has that one bad inning. And that's been a kind of a thing going on with the Rays the past couple of weeks, is that one bad inning kind of lets the wheels off.
We've only been in the season for the first couple of weeks.
Hey, it's week 3 to me.
All right.
Well, look, I got to say, too, that, you just talked about, everyone on the panel talked about how great the Houston Astros, their lineup, they're hitting on all cylinders. But on the same token, you have the Rays, who are basically scoring a lot of runs, too. Is that, the point is, if they can get the stick out basically throughout the 9 innings, I mean, and Snell can hold it up, there's very, very good chance that he can get the win here.
I've really liked this. I've really liked the production out of Steven Souza Jr., who's really surprised me a lot this year after having an injury-ridden season last season. Also, Corey Dickerson, batting that leadoff spot, he's impressed me a lot, man. That power, I think, has stayed with him, even though he lost 20 pounds in the offseason. But Steven Souza, I mean, If he's the guy that we traded for, he's starting to be that guy, and of course he's not going to have that, maintain that 343 average throughout the season. But if he keeps hitting the way he does, he can bat over 300 throughout. So I'm really impressed with Steven Souza Jr. all season long, so far.
And did you see that bomb Dickerson hit yesterday?
That was it was such a bomb that I think even the officiating crew was like they were doing the lean back for a little bit because they thought it was foul there for a second. But man, that was a shot.
I mean, that hit the back wall.
That was
the scoreboard.
I was listening to it on 620 WDAE, and Dave Wells was like, Wait, this could be going. Wait, it could be. Oh, it is gone. And they didn't even know if it was foul or not. So lots of power coming from Dickerson. He's swinging the bat well. And I know there's been a lot of criticism lately with a lot of guys not having the great production. You know, they brought in a new hitting coach this season, and so far so good. I mean, they've had a few that away stretch, that road trip where was not so good, but it looks like they can hit the ball at home. They just can't do it on the road. So hopefully they have a turnaround this game. You know, they came out swinging last night. Let's do that again and keep it going throughout the whole game.
All right. So let me ask you this question then. Let's talk about the Astros for a small period of time here. As Dwayne alluded to, first place in the West right now, and now, you know, you're facing this young, hungry team, which is what I'm calling the Rays this year. They're young and they're hungry. They want to get rid of the 68-win season that they had last year. And in the beginning, and I know this is only, as you said, week 3, but it looks as though the mechanics are there. So, in your honest opinion, what do you think some of these mental issues are? What are the blockage? What are the obstacles that you feel the Rays, outside of the bullpen, need to correct?
Defense. Defense. There's been a lot of miscues, a lot of bumbling. As Chris Berman would say, my arch nemesis, bumbling, fumbling, stumbling plays all over the place. So they've got to get that defense in check. I know Longoria had what did you call it last night, Pinto? It was a flub or a...
That was just horrible.
Oh, okay, let's just call it horrible last night.
You got bases loaded. The ball's hit to... I mean, yes, they're hitting the ball, but like I said, if they're giving away runs like that, they won't win.
You know, Houston's a very good team, and the way they played last night, the first half of the game was they were looking good, and then having that one bad inning, and then all of a sudden the wheels came off. They need to step away from that, and they're going against Charlie Morton tonight. He's got a 1-1, win-loss average right now. He's got a 2.81 ERA. The last time he pitched against the Rays was in 2014. Had 11 Ks against the Rays. So let's try to avoid that this night and this outing against Charlie Morton. So,
Dwayne, let me ask you a question because, I mean, for you and for myself, we don't really have a dog in this race. If you look on paper, and I know, as Pinto pointed out, if you look on paper, you look at this lineup that the Astros have going on tonight, could you possibly give me a person who you think is going to be maybe an X factor or a difference maker?
I think we mentioned his name right on the show, Springer. I mean, you know, I believe he's top of the lineup, too, if I'm not mistaken.
Bad leadoff and hitting bombs. That's all he's doing.
So, I mean, guy's quick. The guy can hit. He's hitting over 300. He's leading this team. And I think on the flip side, you know, talking about the Rays here a little bit, I think now is the leader. The so-called Evan Longoria, sorry.
Yes.
Evan Longoria.
I thought you said the so-called leader. Don't do that. Don't call him a so-called leader on Twitter or he'll destroy you.
Well, here's my thing, though. First you have the beard, then you trim up the beard. And
don't ever trim up the beard. Don't ever do that.
But what I'm saying to you is that establishment of him being the leader, we haven't seen it yet. And you guys just pointed it out. Leaders don't make those kind of mental errors.
By trimming your beard or making the mistakes?
What I'm saying is
both.
There you go.
Him being the leader, those mental mistakes you can't make when you're playing a team like the Houston Astros, the one that he made last night. Is it going to happen? Of course it's going to happen. But at the same time, those are the moments where you rise above and establish yourself. And I feel, and what I'm picking up from the three of you gentlemen is, he's not there yet. So
don't tell him that on Twitter. Don't ever tell him that on Twitter.
I'm not going to do it on Twitter. But I would be honest, and I would be man enough to walk up to him and say, okay, listen, you're 29, 30 years old.
It's 31.
31. Okay? You have been with this franchise since you came into the league. All right? You need to figure out what it is, either up here or in here, that's going to let you be the man. Because right now, everybody starts to look to him when things go awry. There's no question. His bat, he's always on. When that man gets up there, I can guarantee you 90, 95% of the time, I don't care if it's a foul ball, a strikeout, or a grand slam home run, whatever the case may be, Evan Longoria's bat is there. But there's something that's not transcending it.
Eric, I've got the solution.
To the leadership role. So what is it?
I've got the solution. Grow the beard back. and tell everybody on the team to grow beards, and then have the Rayhawk like they did a few years ago. That's the magic they need to bring back.
I don't
Beards
care.
and Rayhawks all the way around.
Listen, I don't care what it is.
Whatever
but
works.
something needs to be done.
If our day jobs weren't in an offense, I'd do a beard and a Rayhawk all day.
Okay.
I don't think that's it.
That's not it?
Back when the Rays were winning, Lindora wasn't the face of the franchise.
It wasn't. It was David Price.
And James Shields was the vocal leader of the clubhouse. Lindora wasn't ever the vocal leader. Now, they don't have anybody else in the clubhouse that can do that, so they're all looking for Evan Lindora to do it.
Exactly.
But I don't think that's who he is. They need to bring in another veteran guy that can be that voice and just let Longo do what he does. He shows up, he plays, and let the vocal stuff go to somebody else. And I think that's what Forsythe did maybe a little bit, but now he's gone. James Shield did that back in the run.
You know what? I think that's why Evan Longoria got so mad when Forsythe got traded was, now, man, I got to do this now. I got to be the vocal guy in the clubhouse. Oh, God, why? Why?
Well, here's the thing, too. I mean, do you think there's a lot of pressure being put on him? That's why he's not performing at an A-plus level?
Yes.
I mean,
Well, if pressure by meaning you got to live up to a $100 million contract, yeah, there's got to be a little bit of pressure there, yeah.
And that's what I'm saying to you. Since he doesn't either want the job or doesn't feel that he's the best fit, but now everybody looks to him, listen, Evan Longoria, be uncomfortable. Be comfortable with getting uncomfortable. Because right now, since nobody's there, you have to be that guy. With that, let's take our first break. When we come back, we're going to touch more on the Rays and the Astros as we are here for Game 2. You are listening to us here live at Ferg's. Big shout out to Mark. I know he's walking around here for letting us come in and do this. This is Whole Nother Level, and we'll be right back.
And welcome back, everybody. It is Whole Nother Level here live at Ferg Sports Bar and Grill. Game 2 of the Rays versus Astros series. You can find us online as www.hnl3.com, on Twitter at Whole Nother Level, Spreaker.com, and www.rawtalkonline.com is where we stream from every Tuesday and Saturday. Now, Chris, or Pinto, a.k.a. the Italian man, you were at the game last night. I wanna hear some of your observations from last night when you were inside Tropicana Field.
I mean, it seemed like the first couple innings of the game, like the pitchers were just like throwing batting practice. Everybody was hitting the ball. I mean, just rock hard. It just happened to be. I mean, Evan Lindoria's first at bat, he flied out the center, but I mean, he just missed that, and he probably would have had 2 home runs last night. Everybody was just hitting the ball solid. I mean, even the foul tips, everything was. And then I think the pitchers maybe settled down a little bit and got into their groove. But I mean, they had 3 home runs last night from Dickerson, Longoria, and Morrison, and then after that, they really didn't do a whole lot. So I don't know if maybe Fires got locked in maybe a little bit.
I think once he settled down, I think he did. I want to know. I want to bring up the question: is what do you think, or should we have our little whiteboards out? What do you think Kevin Kiermaier's secret illness was last night?
You know what? I mean, I really don't know. I mean, how do you make a catch like that in the outfield and then have to leave the game?
Now we've all played Little League. I played Little League myself. Dwayne, I'm sure you played Little League as well. Now, there are times when you are in the outfield where you may have to go to the bathroom. You have to make a good catch. I don't know. He did make a great grab, Robin McCann, of a potential home run, so maybe he had to go.
But to miss the rest of the game?
I know. I don't know. I want to ask KK. I want to be like, dude.
Well, hey, look, it happens, I guess.
You know what? If you got to go, you got to go. Just come back in the game. That's all I got to say.
If you need to take time, take a break, so to speak, do that and then make your way discreetly back, into the game. One question I did want to ask you guys, something that was on a serious note here.
We're getting serious now?
We are, just for a moment.
Okay.
Changing gears.
The Astros pitcher tonight on the mound, and I apologize, his name eludes me. This guy is throwing 95, 96 mile an hour fastballs. And I mean, this guy last year was averaging maybe 91. What changed?
Steroids. I'm kidding. Well, if Marcus Thames could come from Japan and start hitting balls like it's no tomorrow, I think it's steroids.
I mean,
it's all steroids.
as he gets older, all of a sudden his pitch increases by 4 to 5 miles an hour?
Eric, if Tom Brady can do it, then I guess everybody can do it.
Well, look, I mean,
why do we keep going back to Tom Brady?
You need not look farther than the division. We've seen CC Sabathia that was on the decline. We've said this preseason, and look at him now. He's throwing a 1.5 ERA, great starts. He might be not that he's throwing any harder, but he's throwing more finesse pitches. That's basically what you're probably seeing.
CC, listen to me before the beginning of the season. Drink beer, eat donuts. You'll get all your power back.
I think I saw him just sneak over here. When they were in town, I think we saw CC sneak over here to Ferg's to get himself a couple beer and some hot dogs and hamburgers that kind of beefed him up for when he went back to when you guys went back to play him at Yankee Stadium. But
I think one thing that I saw last night during the game was missed opportunities. A lot of runners in scoring position that were not batted in. They've had a few chances last night where they could have taken the lead or could have tied up the ball game. So missed opportunities. Take advantage of those when you have 2 men on and you have the potential tying run on third. You capitalize on that. Quit leaving guys on base. That's missed opportunities.
The other thing is with the Rays batters, a lot of them, they put the shift on. Freaking bunt the ball down the third base line and just get on base.
They don't play small ball with the Rays. They don't do that anymore.
Those days are long gone, huh?
Last night, Kevin Kiermaier's up. They had the 3 infielders on the right-hand side. The third baseman's playing up for the bunt. You can build 4 houses where shortstop is supposed to be playing, and you strike out. I mean, all you got to do is
just... Is that the $400,000 townhome we was talking about earlier? That's what you could do?
All you got to do is just flick the bat somewhere that way. If it gets by the third baseman with his speed, you're on base.
You just got to tap it in.
Just
a little tap it. It's all in the hips. It's all in the hips.
That's all. I mean, I understand. They're pitching him a certain way, so he can't do that. But he has to make adjustments. All of them do. Morrison, they put the switch on him. Brad Miller. You got to find a way to beat that shift. You pulling the ball to the right side of the field is not going to work.
We could put that in the bank of this new segment we call the Quandaries of Cash, or Cash of Quandaries. So with manager Kevin Cash.
Great, Al Bushman. I know you got to get out of here in a few minutes because you're going to be heading over and being in the press box tonight to cover the game, get some on-field stuff. So, gentlemen, 2 questions for you, and Pinto, I'll start with you. First question. Biggest thing you're looking for tonight for the Rays to be successful, and then 2, who's winning in a final score?
Snell has to pitch at least 6 innings, I think. The bullpen's not that great, and if he has to come out before that, it's going to be tough, especially with not having Ramirez in the bullpen because he started the other day because of the injury, so you don't have that long reliever.
He's been doing a great job, though. Ramirez, quality starts for him.
No, he has.
Really great job.
I really think he has to go at least 6, if not longer, for them to win. So with that being said, I'm gonna go 5-3 Rays.
Snell gets his first win. Okay, 5-3. Dwayne, you're up.
There was a game that I called a couple weeks ago, a 3-2 game, but I'm not going to go into that. Anyway,
we don't want to.
Was that the home opener?
No. This was about a week after that. But anyway, I'm not going to gloat. I'm going to keep that on the DL.
You said you weren't, but you're still doing it. So
all right.
Anyhow, I think this game will be close. I think Snell will pitch not a great game, but a decent game. He's going to give up runs. He'll pitch at least 6. So we'll go with 6-5 Rays.
6-5 Rays. Okay, great, Al Bushman.
Well, yeah, I'm glad they got Xavier Cedeno out of the bullpen because of injury. So that's good. They brought up Ryan Garden, who he's kind of a mixed review kind of guy. So
wait a minute. I completely forgot. When we did our show on Tuesday, I said I needed a name from you today. So, for those of you who may or may not know, the great Al Bushman has a serious problem with Pruitt. He has a major issue and wants to know from Kevin Cash.
He actually had a great game the
other
night.
Why do you keep going back to Pruitt? Tonight, sometimes it's better to be lucky than good. I say the bats fall your way tonight. I say that Snell doesn't go 6 innings, though. I say you're going to have to rely on that bullpen that you've been questioning since the beginning. But I think your bullpen actually comes out tonight and gets you a well-deserved victory. But I'm saying not 6-5. And Pinto, you said what, 5-3? 5-3. I don't think it's going to be that big of a game. I really don't. I think it's going to be one of those close games. I'm going to say 3-2. And I just say tonight the Rays get lucky and actually pull one out against the first-place Houston Astros.
If Snell can strike out or keep the balls on the ground when it comes to pitching to guys like Beltran and Altuve and Springer, they're going to be all right, but he's got to keep those pitches down so they're not hitting balls out of the park. So,
no, I agree.
Guys, I hope you have a great show. I'll be inside covering in the press box. I'll see you guys on Tuesday and then on Thursday for our NFL draft show at Old School Bar and Grill down in Sarasota.
We will be there Thursday.
Hope you guys have a good one. I'll see you guys in later.
All right, with that, we're going to take another break. When we come back, we're going to touch on a little more baseball, of course. We'll probably stay here in the AL East because I know Dwayne loves to talk about his Yankees, but you are listening to us whole nother level right here live at Ferg's. We'll be right back. And welcome back to Whole Nother Level right here at Ferg's, downtown Sarasota, right across from Tropicana Field for this Game 2 of the Houston Astros versus our very own Tampa Bay Rays. I'm your man, Eric Wilson, joined by Dwayne Lindo and our man Pinto. And unless I'm mistaken, Trish is at the bar today working hard for you down here. Make sure you come check her out, say hello to her. But keeping the show going. Okay. We will turn it down. Not a problem. Not a problem at all. All right, gentlemen. So we've given our score. We've given our prediction. Let's talk a little bit more about the AL East and kind of stay with, the Yankees. Dwayne, your all-time favorite team, of course.
Yeah, that's a given.
Are you on there, buddy?
Yep.
Are you sure?
Well, at least I think I am.
Yeah, mics are up, my brother. I don't know where you're at. Testing one. Nope.
Yeah, well, at least I think I am. Well, anything about the Yankees you want to know about other than we're probably more than likely going to win that 90 games I talked about preseason. But I think either the Baltimore Orioles or the New York Yankees more than likely will take the East.
Really? So you're saying Baltimore or the Yankees is going to be the two teams that represent the AL East in the postseason?
I would think so.
I would beg to differ because, listen, you're a young team. And granted, right now, you have a great start. You're, what are you, second in the AL East behind?
Yes.
Behind
Baltimore.
Behind Baltimore, a team that, only by a game and a half. So, I mean,
it's still early. Don't get me wrong. It's still early. A lot of ball games have to be played. But here's the thing. You have there's no specific leader for the Yankees. But, the meat of the order, you have Sterling, Castro, Holiday, Bird. These guys are blowing it up. That meat of the lineup is just producing all these runs, which, obviously the beginning of the season kind of had a rough start at 1-4, winning 6 straight, losing 1, but winning a couple. But, I mean, if they can get these streaks going, it's basically uphill. I mean, it's basically a wrap for the New York Yankees.
I mean, currently right now they are losing 1-0 to the Pittsburgh Pirates. So,
well, I mean, it's, again, early.
I just said, So how do you feel about Austin Romine? How do you feel about him right now as, one of your up-and-coming pitchers, or where do you see him faring, let's just say, over the next 2-3 years?
Well, look, I mean, the thing is, if he can produce, basically, the Yankees could utilize him if he could produce, and that's the key. If Romine can produce, the sky's the limit.
All right. Pinto, let me ask you, because I know that, you look at the AL East very handedly when it comes to particular teams, more importantly, those that you have to face, and, you see these guys throughout the entire season. So give me your expectation for Boston with them sitting right now being third in the AL East. And we talked about this before the season started, how, Boston could win 90-plus games this year.
I mean, right now, if you're a Boston fan, you got to be disappointed right now. I mean, here you thought going into the season that you had a big 3 in your starting rotation and you were just going to just mow people over, and that's not really happening right now. I mean, David Price is on the DL right now, but when he comes back, I mean, I see them, catching right back up. I mean, they can put runs on the board, and right now their pitching is a little suspect, and New York is getting the pitching nobody thought they were going to have. I mean, nobody expected this, not even Yankee fans, that they were going to get this great starting pitching out of their starters. Nobody thought CC was going to do what he was going to do. Nobody thought that. So it'll be interesting to see once David Price comes back to see what happens, but you can't count Boston out. They have too many hitters, and that pitching staff is just unbelievable.
Yeah, and I got to say, too, I mean, between Baltimore and Yankees, I mentioned them right off the top, but Boston obviously is in that running in the AL East. I mean, between these three teams, it's kind of like a grab bag of who's going to make it to the playoffs.
All right, so let's talk about the last team in there, a team that, honestly, I expected more out of them. Toronto. 4 wins? 4 wins? That's it?
Absolutely terrible.
And their first win they didn't get till they came down here. Their opening series, they got swept. Then they come down here, and they get 1 win. They stole a win out of here from Tampa. If you're a Toronto fan, like, is this it? Like, are they going to just, move this team out of Toronto? Will there no longer be a Canadian MLB baseball team?
I don't know about all that. I mean, that's a stretch. Toronto's going through a rough patch right now, and we've said this in the beginning of the season. Pitching is going to be the number one problem for Toronto, and it just seems that their stick is not working for them as well. Obviously, in the past, Toronto Blue Jays have had great lineup. Their lineup is not working. Their pitching is not working. Nothing is hitting on nothing is hitting on any cylinder for that matter for the Toronto Blue Jays, which is the reason why they only have 4 wins.
I mean, if you're Jose Bautista or Encarnacion, I mean, what do you say to this team? Honestly, I don't even know.
Well, I mean, my question is how long are they going to keep this team together? I mean, yeah.
Oh, that's right. He did go. I'm sorry. Thank you.
How long are they going to keep this team together? Are they going to start?
They need to bring him back. That's the problem. Thank you very much.
I mean, are they going to trade Tulowitzki? They're going to trade Bautista? How long are they? I mean, you got 4 wins on the season. They probably thought they were going to have a much better start than where they're at. So my question is how long do they keep this team together if they keep going the way they're going?
Yeah, and Bautista is one of the leaders on that team. Bautista really not producing. Again, getting back to that single-digit winning record at this point. They can't get anything going. I mean, who's the leader on that team? It just seems like they don't have one at this point.
It should be Bautista, but
it should be, but it's not.
But I mean, clearly it's not. So I have no idea. Speaking of guys doing, let's just say
that their best player is not going to be on that team.
So we're not going to see him basically till after the All-Star break.
That's the reports right now.
That's insane. That's crazy.
Don't these people have in contracts where they're not supposed to do that? So my question is what's going to happen with that? Right. So yeah. I'm sure he has a clause in his contract that says that you can't do this, you can't do that, and then he goes ahead and does it. So it'll be interesting to see what happens on that side.
Yeah, they need to add a clause and call it the idiot clause and say, okay, the following things you are not allowed to do during the regular season if you want to keep this contract. Because it's crazy to think a dirt bike or shooting off fireworks or anything, you're risking not only injury to yourself, but now being out for so long and your team has to go in without you. And
there lies the problem. I mean,
yeah.
It's a bonehead maneuver, obviously. We'll see how that pans out. I mean, it might hurt the team's chances to going anywhere in the West, but we'll see what happens.
Unbelievable.
Well, what about the other news about Sterling Marte? He just got suspended for 80 games for doing PEDs.
See, I have no place for that kind of just, I won't even say just stupidness. I'm sorry. Everybody knows the PEDs, the HGHs, steroids, call it whatever you want to call it, whatever we're masking it as today. Everybody knows and understands what's at stake when you try and go this route. So I can't have any kind of love or any kind of sympathy for these guys when they're making millions upon millions of dollars, but they still feel that they need to get this leg up somehow, some way. And I'm like, you already know what's out there. You already know how censored every league is, not just Major League Baseball, NBA, NHL, NFL. They have specific task force just to be able to identify these things in your system to make sure that you are on the up and up. So when you make that kind of decision, listen, I can kind of understand a dirt bike. I can kind of understand 4th of July because accidents do happen. But something like that, I just cannot, in good conscience, I can't sit here and say, oh, well, I have sympathy for this person. I don't.
No, and he let everybody down on his team. I mean, the way it is he's going to be suspended 80 games. He comes back, they play. So say Pittsburgh tears it up, they make the playoffs. Now he has to sit out the playoffs also. So you just hurt everybody on your team because you're one of the so-called leaders on that team, one of the best players on that team, and now you have to sit out the postseason?
Right.
I mean, it's terrible for him to do something like that. You have to compete with the Chicago Cubs and the St. Louis Cardinals. So Pittsburgh is competing every single year. I mean, every game counts for them. So for a bonehead maneuver like that, to put his team in jeopardy, to not make the playoffs, I guess terrible on his part.
Yeah, that's probably the second toughest division besides the AL East probably, where you can have potentially 3 to 4 teams probably going to the postseason. In the last few years, I mean, you got, like you said, St. Louis.
And Pittsburgh's always been on the cusp. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. They've always been right there. That team that just might get it. The team that just might get over the hump, get to the postseason, maybe get to the AL wildcard game or something like that, and let's see what happens. I mean, so what bothers me is you know what's at stake with this team. Now you're out 80 games. And like you said, if they tear it up and Pittsburgh decides that, okay, this is our year, now we don't have one of our best guys in because he wants to do something as boneheaded as that. Yeah, I'm like, you know what? You get what you got coming to you.
No, I agree.
That's exactly how I feel.
Pretty much.
And, you know, speaking of the Cubs, they just beat the Reds. Apparently what was a slugfest, they're calling it today, 12-8. Teams combined for 6 homers today. I mean, the bats of those two teams, Chicago, the Cubs, and then the Cincinnati Reds, man, these series, I'm excited to see what happens in the NL Central. But, you know, the Cubs, they're on a high that they're not ready to come down from just yet. So we'll see what happens with them.
And look, I mean, and this is exactly what we're talking about. Pinto just hit the nail on the head. One of the toughest divisions, obviously the toughest division in the National League. So Pittsburgh, it's going to be tough for Pittsburgh to try to make it out of that hole, losing marquee players.
Yeah, but, I mean, so let me ask this question to you. If they do tear it up, does it really matter if he's not there? Because if the Pirates do go on this tear and they're a formidable team in the NL Central and they're giving the Cubs, the World Series champion Cubs, a run for their money each and every series, and now they make the postseason, does it really matter that this guy's out then?
Well, I tell you what, if that was the case, if that actually happened, I mean, you have to start looking at maybe getting, you know, I don't know what his contract is, but possibly getting rid of Marte, maybe looking for basically having him play somewhere else in the future. Simple as that. Because if he's out of the dynamic and you're making all cylinders click, I mean, and you're winning without him, get rid of him.
The only problem with that, though, is going into the season, the rumors were maybe trying to get rid of McCutchen and keep Marte and have him play your center fielder and see what you can get from McCutchen. But now, with him not playing 80 games, you're kind of stuck with McCutchen because who's going to fill that gap of Marte not being there?
Yeah, no, you're right. All right, our last couple of minutes here before we get out of here, let everybody start heading over. I just want to go back to the Rays and the Astros because we are here for Game 2 of this 3-game series. And gentlemen, one more time, I just want to ask this question. You know, looking at the Rays right now, currently they sit a 500 team. We predicted, the great Al Bushman predicted 89 wins. I said 87 wins. Dwayne, you were on the lower end of that. And Pinto, I think you were somewhere in the middle. But I just go back to, Evan always says it's the bullpen, the bullpen, the bullpen. The bullpen is the reason, like the kryptonite for the Rays. I'm saying it's not the bullpen. I'm saying it's the starting rotation. I mean, listen, with Odorizzi out, You've got Archer, who is stepping up tremendously, and you've got Alex Cobb, who I feel, in my opinion, is holding his own. And Dries does well, but now you've got this guy Snell, who is young. What needs to be fixed with him? That is it. I just need to know because I seriously feel that if Blake Snell had better mechanics, I feel like if he had just something, whatever the obstacle standing in his way was, if he could overcome that, you guys, the Tampa Bay Rays, that pitching rotation, I think you could stand them up against most any team in Major League Baseball. I really do.
Well, look, I think part of the reason, too, and they mentioned it, Pinto mentioned it at the top of the show. I mean, defense. I mean, you get rid of a lot of those mental errors. The Rays are not a 500 team. They're a 750 team if you get rid of a lot of those mental defensive errors. But, I mean, in terms of pitching, I think the pitching between Alex Cobb and the number one starter, I think,
Archer.
Yeah, Archer. I think these two are like the 1-2 punch for the Rays.
Yeah, but they're not out there every night. You've got guys like Odorizzi, who's currently out right now. You've got Andres out there. I expect those guys to do their job. I expect Cobb and Archer, Cobb, whatever you want to.
Right.
I expect those guys when they are up to go out there and produce. But it's the other three that concern me, and I know Andres will, as the season progresses, he will fall right into play. I really feel that way. When Odorizzi comes back, I feel that he will fall right into. But Snell, to me, right now, is your Achilles heel. I really feel that way.
I think the problem is they don't have that veteran pitcher to go to. Like back in the day, they had, James Shields. You need 7 tough innings. You put James Shields out there. He got you to 7 innings. You rested your bullpen. Right now, they have a young pitching staff. They don't have that veteran guy they can lean on as far as advice. Hey, what do you do in this situation? I mean, their whole starting rotation is very young. I mean, your veteran guy is Archer, who's not that old. Yeah. They don't have that veteran guy they can go to with questions. Hey, what do you do in this situation? Hey, what do you do about – they don't have that guy. They're all just trying to figure this out, and they don't have that veteran leader on the staff where most teams they do. They have that one guy you can go to and say, hey, what would you do here? What would you do here? How would you do this different? They don't have that, and that is their problem, I think.
Okay. Well, thank you for answering my question. I appreciate it. Folks, we're going to go ahead and slide out of here, give everybody time to get over for batting practice and to make sure that everybody's got plenty of time to watch Game 2 of this Astro Rays series. We thank y'all for being here with us today. We are Whole Nother Level. We'll be back in a couple of weeks.